I'm not sure if they have heroin in them, but I do know that when I open the packet, in about 5 minutes, I eat the whole thing. And then I want it again tomorrow. And I think I get addicted to them. Am I the only one? No. Well, so here's what you do. You want about an ounce a day. And pour it into your hand, whether it's cashews or walnuts or slivered almonds or sunflower seeds or sesame seeds. By the time it hits your fingers, that's more than an ounce, so stop. Then you take that part and put it on your salad or on your pancakes instead of eating it as a snack, and that way you'll be safe. Okay? Make sense? All right. So, what's a healthy diet? A healthy diet is the power plate. Fruits, grains, legumes. What are legumes? Beans, peas, and lentils. Things that grow in a pod. And vegetables. Okay? So, there are certain ones that I want to cheerlead for in particular. There's a B vitamin called folate. Folate comes from spinach, lettuce, kale, collards. The name comes from foliage. Leaves give you folate. Folate is a B vitamin. It protects the brain. Vitamin B6 is in beans. Easy to remember, B6, beans, and bananas. And vitamin B12 is actually my one exception to the food, not pills routine, because it's much more absorbable in a pill than it is in food, especially if you're a little older, or if you have diabetes and are on metformin, or if you take an acid blocker, you'll have a lot of trouble absorbing B12 from food sources, but the crystalline B12 in a supplement is highly absorbable, no matter what. Now, why am I showing you these 3 vitamins? These are B vitamins. They all work together to do something very remarkable. They shovel out the factory waste from your brain. Here's what they do. Just like a factory produces waste that has to be removed, your brain cells and other cells in your body make something called homocysteine. This won't be on the test. But homocysteine builds up and it harms the brain. These B vitamins shovel it out and get rid of it. That's all they do. So at Oxford University, researchers brought in a group of people. They were already up in years. Everybody was over 70. Everyone was already having memory problems. They were all already saying, I am not myself. There's something really wrong with me. All the researchers did is they said, take these 3 vitamins. And they brought in a comparison group where they said, take this pill that was actually a placebo. You know what I mean? It's a dummy pill. It didn't have the vitamins in it. Nobody knew which was which. But then over a couple of years, they looked at their brains. And I want to focus on the middle part of the brain. Now, that hole in the middle is normal. That's a ventricle, and the size of it doesn't matter. That's just where the cerebral spinal fluid flows. That's totally normal. But the part to look at, I don't know if you can see, right around the inside of that, there's a little blue color, and that's atrophy. The brain is slipping away, year by year, about 2.5% per year. And that was in the placebo group. They didn't do so hot. But in the B vitamin group, again, the size of the hole doesn't matter. But what matters is the atrophy was greatly reduced in this group, down to about 0.5% per year. So the point being that somehow these simple vitamins stop the brain shrinkage. And they then tested everybody's memory. And the people taking the dummy pills lost a little bit by the first year and a little bit more by the second year. But the people who got the vitamins actually started to gain their memory back a little bit. You with me? Okay, so some people will say, well, I'm with you. The Mediterranean diet, I've been following, that's got a lot of vegetables. And you know about the Mediterranean diet, very popular nowadays. But it's not just vegetables, it's maybe pasta or chickpeas. And sometimes people say wine is part of it, which I guess is true. When I was in college, some of my roommates felt that they were following the Mediterranean diet very closely. People who drink a glass of wine every day have about half the Alzheimer's risk compared to other people. However, before we all go out and have a party, the problem is first of all, if you have much more wine than that, your brain is going to get pickled fairly quickly, and you're not going to do very well. But there are also health risks of wine. The most serious is breast cancer. Even 1 glass of wine per day, if it's every day, measurably increases breast cancer risk. And if it's 2 glasses, 3 glasses, it goes up, 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 up. So researchers said, well, you know, it's true. Wine does seem to have that effect, but maybe it's not the alcohol. Maybe it's the grape. that could be doing that. So they looked at people and just gave them grape juice. I want to walk you through this. This was the University of Cincinnati. They brought in a group of people. Everybody's having memory problems. Where are my car keys? The average age was 78. And they gave them Concord grape juice straight off the shelf, 2 cups a day. And what they discovered was that over about 3 months, about 12 weeks, their memory, their learning, their recall was measurably increased. Why? It's grape juice. It's not a medicine. Or is it? It comes from a grape. The grape is in the sun all day long. And it's getting exposed to the elements. And why doesn't it just shrivel up in a minute? The reason it doesn't shrivel is there are anthocyanins in the grape, which you can spot at 100 yards. Dark, intense, deep purple color. And so the researchers said, wait a minute. Those anthocyanins are antioxidants. They protect the grape. They get into your bloodstream. We know they are absorbed. And they protect the body, maybe? If that's the case, it doesn't have to be grapes. It could be anything that has anthocyanins. Take a blueberry. Let's do the experiment again. Let's bring in a group of older folks that they've got memory problems. Let's give them blueberry juice. Same story. Better learning, better recall. And I want to tell you something. If you send your dog into a grocery store, the dog does not stop at the produce department and will not say, oh, what wonderful colors. Your dog doesn't register any of that because your dog is a carnivore. Same with cats. They're not interested in bright colors. Those of you who have cats, you know your cat likes movement, like your finger under a door. They are mesmerized by those things. They are carnivores, and carnivores require movement. They don't need color. We are herbivores. And herbivores are attracted by intense colors because our bodies depend on them. The orange color of a carrot or a sweet potato, that's beta-carotene. And our retina has been designed by nature to register that orange color very, very intensely. The red color of a tomato, that's lycopene, a powerful antioxidant. And our retina can see that. And the dark purple color, blueberries or grapes, they're not just there to look nice. This is part of our fundamental biology. And many of us go through life ignoring them because our culture takes us away from those things and puts those colors into M&M's or candy or the sign outside of a fast food restaurant. Look at the colors that are there to attract you into completely different kinds of foods. Okay? But anyway, by the way, it doesn't have to be a pint of blueberry juice. What if I just put blueberries on my pancakes in the morning or on my oatmeal, and I'll put a couple of grapes on my salad later in the day? The idea is simply to incorporate these foods into our routine. That's what nature had in mind for us. Does anybody eat that way? Yeah, they do. I want to show you something. This is Okinawa. Anybody ever been to Okinawa? It's right in the bottom of Japan. But the dietary staple in Japan is an important thing to know. In Okinawa, it's what is called a blue zone. Have you heard of the blue zones? This is Dan Buettner's work with National Geographic. They took a map and they looked at where do people live to be 100 years of age. Okinawa is one of them. Another one is Loma Linda, California. Another one is Sardinia, which is off the coast of Italy, part of Costa Rica. And they discovered that these are places where people eat largely plant-based diets. And they are much more likely to live to 100 and often in great mental clarity. But the dietary staple in Okinawa, anybody know? It's not fish, oddly enough. It isn't fish. It is not rice. It is the sweet potato, that's right. And they have different kinds of sweet potatoes. It's a funny thing. Now this is, the woman in the middle of this picture. This picture was taken decades and decades ago, but she happens to be the mother of a friend of mine who moved to the United States and set up a Japanese restaurant that I'm quite fond of. But her mom, Masu, lives in the same house she grew up in Okinawa. There she is at age 88. There she is at 100. And when you turn 100 in Okinawa, they do throw you a party. But you have to share your party with everybody else who turns 100. Now, sailing by Okinawa and back in World War II on a U.S. destroyer was this guy. This is Ellsworth Wareham. And Dr. Ellsworth Wareham is a remarkable person. He didn't know Masu, but he ate almost identically to the way she ate. Because he grew up in Alberta. He grew up on a farm. And they would say, Alberta, go milk the cows. I'm sorry, Ellsworth, go milk the cows. And he would come back in with his pail of milk, and they would say, you know, why aren't you drinking the milk with the rest of us? And he says, well, I saw where it came from. Ellsworth, go out and get the eggs. And he came in and he saw where they came from too. And he didn't want to have anything to do with it. What's remarkable about him, unlike most other people in Alberta, he became vegetarian very early in life. And he became a surgeon, quite a well-known surgeon actually. He did a tour of duty in Vietnam. And then when he came back, he was decorated. That's him just to the right of President Lyndon Johnson. And then later on, he was decorated again by Richard Nixon. That's him to the left of Richard Nixon. But that's not what's remarkable. What's remarkable about Dr. Wareham was when the surgeons hit 65, they retired. When he hit 65, he said, you know, I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm going to stick with this for a while. He hit 70. He hit 75. He was still operating. He was the best surgeon in the hospital. And he said, you know, I can't do this forever. If I hit 95, I'm going to retire. That's what he did. At age 95, he said, guys, I shouldn't be operating anymore. I'm quitting. He said, wait. The other surgeon said, we'll pay your insurance. You've got to stay here. You've got the steadiest hand, and you've got 3 times the experience that any of us have. We need you here in the operating room. At least stay and assist us. He said, no, I'm hanging it up. It's time for me to go. And he did retire. But I got to know Dr. Wareham, and I went and saw him. I took his picture. He's not quite 100 years old. And he's still operating on his plants outside his backyard. Anyway, the point I'm making is these simple foods that happen not to have the bad fats in them, and that are high in the vitamin E and high in the anthocyanins, high in the protectors, they really do protect the brain if we take advantage of them. Now, are there extra benefits of avoiding the bad fat? Is it going to protect more than my brain? Well, it might. 1 gram of fat. A gram of fat, if I take a thimble, sewing thimble, and I start pouring oil into it, by the time it's about 1/3 full, that's a gram of fat. And a gram of fat has 9 calories. But a gram of carbohydrate, I don't care if it's from bread, or potatoes, or rice, or spaghetti, it's got only 4 calories. So what if I'm avoiding all those bad fats? I'm trying to do it for my brain. Maybe other parts of my body will get better. I want to show you, this is a picture of Jean Remy, who lives in eastern Canada. And he sent me these pictures because he weighed 320 pounds. And he was diagnosed with prediabetes. And as fate would have it, his wife happened to have a copy of my diabetes book that some of you might have seen. And she gave him the book. And it did not say to cut calories. It didn't say you got to go to the gym and wear spandex and sweat off a pound. It said we're going to make a qualitative shift in our diet. We're going to get away from the bad fats and all the foods that have them. And we're going to eat lots of vegetables and fruits and whole grains and beans. And he sent me this picture. By the time he got to chapter 4, he lost 160 pounds. And when you set down that much weight, you suddenly have energy you never had before. This was not an exerciser. But then he discovered he really liked to get physically active, and he liked the way he looked, and he liked the way he felt. Let me show you somebody else. This is Jenna. She didn't have as much weight to lose as he did, but she decided to do the very same thing, to just change the type of food, not worry about the quantity. And she got her waistline back, her confidence back, but most importantly, she got her health back. So it really can make a dramatic difference to simply shift the contents of the plate. Now I want to walk you through some things that are still controversial and that we don't yet know what the answer is. Starting with aluminum. Have some of you heard that aluminum might be bad for the brain? Yeah, okay. We still really don't know